Hello, and welcome everybody to Chalkcast episode number 84. We're here with the fellas. I mean, finally, what feels like finally, you know? It's been a minute.
I'm so happy.
And like,
we're back.
I know like the major ended Monday, but like, why weren't you guys home? Why weren't you guys like ready to go?
I was home.
Kick it off.
No, I was home in minutes actually. Like I barely left London and I was home. It's a really nice flight back. CJ on the other hand. This guy needs to sort himself out. What have you? What are you doing? How many of these flights do you need to go on before you realize this is a mistake? This spawn point was a bad spawn point. I should.
It's a debatable spawn point. It's a fantastic spawn, but in terms of, I guess, location to resources, it's bad. But in terms of views, you know, just hanging out, it's really good. But yeah, kind of. It's like when you're in Minecraft, and you're like, wow, this place is awesome, and then you kind of
spawn in. You're like, it's home.
It's home, but then you go in one direction, you're like, okay, there's the water, and then you go in another direction, okay, there's the water. You're like, is this
no coal, no iron? Yep.
Any connection here to the mainland? And there's not. Long way away, long flight. Took me a few days to get home. I think Rizzo was telling everyone in his streams that that's why it's taken us until Thursday night to get an episode out. But you know, a few travel nightmares. We did a little Patreon episode last night or this morning for Rizzo. Sorry, this morning.
This afternoon for me.
So for the patrons out there, we'll go a bit more in depth on what's been going on.
Our first non-Korea ep in a while. We ran out of bonus episodes from Korea.
We did. Yep. I mean, we really did try and get as many Korea bonus episodes as possible because they're simply a different level. They're just simply better, aren't they? But eventually, we ran out of time. We ran out of bonus eps, but we have to. We'll figure it out. I think we might have something. We might be cooking up another in-person bonus ep spam recording. We'll have to update you on that when we got more details.
Hopefully, we love it.
Time.
We know you guys love it. Well, yeah, it might be a downgrade on Korea. It could be debatable. Rizzo might have other thoughts on that, but yeah, we'll give you an update when we do confirm stuff. We love the in-person stuff though, and I know Rizzo had massive FOMO from, you know, watching me and Johnny over there. He kept tweeting at us. He was saying he wanted to kiss me and stuff like that. So I just knew that he was missing the fellas, wasn't it, London?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was missing you guys a little bit. All I could think of was CJ's succulent lips while I was sitting here at home. So I was really missing out there. Hopefully Johnny got a piece.
Oh, I got a couple of the lips just too this time.
I don't know. It was okay to just be home and chilling, but like only because I know you guys are actually like busy, especially like this time around. I know you guys are just like I think you guys are doing more, I would assume.
No, Thursday, Friday those days were ridiculous. So we start around about, you know, late morning for the people on the start of the show, early afternoon for the people on like the second, I guess, section of the show, and then you just finish at 10:30, 11 p.m. So the whole day you're just like on broadcast, and that's live. Hours. And then after that, you're straight to the back, the green room. Get your makeup off, get your stuff, back to the hotel, get changed. You're lucky if you're like out the door by midnight to go get something.
Nothing's
like,
open.
Whatever else is open.
We're going to the casino.
Get some fast food.
Open.
The casino's always open.
Go to the casino. The casino restaurant is always open. They were really nice. And then when we went there on the Sunday, after the after party, we went to the casino, and like all the Rocket League players who had already been there had just been annoying the living daylights out of the bar staff, and they were way more on edge that time around for some. Wow, I was like, what happened here? Because I go in and I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but I go in on the Sunday, the last night, and this may be around about midnight again, and there's a bunch of Rocket League people there. They've been there for hours. Every other time we went into the bar, they're chilling, they're calm, they're just relaxing. This time they were like, what do you want? And I said, can I get 3 pints of, I forget what it was. And the guy says, I can only serve 1 per person. So I was like looking at my 2 friends behind me, like there's a bit weird. I was like, okay, can I get 1 pint 3 times in a row? I was like, how do I order? I don't know what to say.
Individual payments, please.
I was like, can I get 1 pint 3 times in a row? I can pay for them all separately if that's like a problem. And then the guy was like, that's not funny. He was like, so not. You're just not in a good mood. I was like, oh my goodness, what have the Rocket League people been doing? Like all these drunk Rocket League players.
It was basically heaps of. If you're looking from their POV, there's all of a sudden heaps of kids in there they're They're not on the tables or anything. They're just hanging out at the bar and being. I mean, even
Well,
Daz,
they
right?
were all
Daz,
18 plus, by the way. We're in casinos, so everybody's like,
yeah,
you gotta
everyone.
be ID
Yeah,
to get in there.
I say
It's
kids, but
heavily
that's
ID.
because we're like 30.
18-year-old
But
kids.
yeah, you got to be careful with the current situation on the terminology there.
You do. You do.
18
current
plus,
Twitch
18 plus,
climate.
casino ID'd, all good. Took a photo of everyone. We are A-OK. But even the oldies, like Daz, he like went to the bar. He's like, "Can I get 3 chicken wings?" And then he just left. And I saw the guy coming out with like plates of chicken wings.
No.
Like, where's this guy gone? He didn't give a table. I mean, that's got to be annoying for.
That's really annoying. Daz, bro, come on.
For the
He
staff.
actually
Daz
brought the
fumbled
chicken
that.
wings. Oh, he actually brought them as well. Like after midnight, you're just getting brought chicken wings in the casino
Yep.
bar, and you don't stay around with it. Come on, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But-
that was a really nice casino restaurant. Right, it was right across the street from the Talent Hotel, so it's really convenient. It was pretty cool.
Across the street, it was in the hotel
In the
basically.
mall.
Were you guys
you
at
could just see it.
Were you guys at the Moxie again?
No,
No.
no. We're
Oh,
living
we've
we're living the
That
high life, the
hotel
Hyatt
was
life this
weird.
time.
That was
Nah,
dingy as.
The
Nah,
Moxie
this
was
nice.
like it had some upsides to it, but it also wasn't. I mean, it's a Moxie. It's a classic like 3-star hotel chain. So
Oh, I
you
didn't know
know
that was a
you're
chain.
lucky if you get too much sleep. Yeah, it's a chain. Yeah, you're lucky if you get a ton of sleep in that one. It's also right next to like the international train station in Stratford. So you're just like, this is fantastic. Like 6
Interesting
a.m.
people
Here
there as
comes the
well.
100 cargo train past my window, which I've opened because the AC doesn't work. Sick. All right, but no, we weren't there. We were in the Hyatt this time.
Saying that, we were pretty much next door. We were just in the mall this
Okay.
time.
It's like up the mall.
Oh, that's
So the
nice.
Copper Box,
Yeah, right
yeah,
next
it's
to the
in
casino.
Stratford. And then
Yeah,
there's the
right
Stratford
next to
Mall
the
where the casino
Yeah.
is. No, it was all right. But backtracking, the reason why, yeah, I agree with you, Rizzo, you wouldn't have loved it because we had long days and, people are missing your viewing parties. But if you did a viewing party on the Thursday or Friday, you would have wanted to die because that thing was 12 hours long. We were there at,
Yeah,
I think it started
I
at
did
2
it from
p.m.
home, and I was working overtime.
Although,
that's
can I
pretty
say though,
different from home.
the view parties setups that they had in the venue looked really cool. I didn't use any of them, but they did offer me one on the. I think it was actually Gotagas one because they lost. Gentlemates lost, and then Blaster like, "Hey Johnny, there's a view party setup just became available. Do you want to use it?" I was like, "Oh, no, I'll pass," because I was already like chatting to some friends, and I didn't want to find my stream key and set it up just for one series. By that point, it was like finals coming up. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Gotaga setup because they just bailed
He was out of there.
after losing, which is fair enough.
Fair
You
enough.
probably didn't want to hang about and watch the final after they've just lost. But
NA
the
fans
stream
wouldn't leave
setups are
until
cool.
the trophy's lifted. By the way, I just want to throw it out there.
would they stay?
True
NA,
Is that
fans.
right?
NA fans would stay until the trophy's lifted and they get to celebrate and everything. Then people go home.
I
Just
thought
wanna
there was
say
a
that.
pretty good like for the final. I thought there was we're skipping around a bit here, but for the final, I thought there was pretty good turnout. What did it look like on the stream? Because in person, it felt like there was a lot of people
As
stayed.
soon as the final is over, it looked like the whole place was empty.
Really?
As soon as it
That's
ended.
crazy. Because I mean, we were on the lower section at the front, so I didn't really look like on the top level, like around too much. I know that one of the top sections was Gentlemates. They probably left, and like one of the top corners was KC for some reason. There to hate watch Oxygen's demise. Didn't even get to because they lost in Swiss anyway. But yeah, I think the upper bowl probably all left, but everybody was like in the lower section was still making noise. 104 was there, of course. Even though they were
What,
supporting Falcons during the match, they were like, "All right, well played, G2 at the end." Love to see it.
What people don't realize though, like as you said, it was such a long day, and everyone in England or in London was getting the train home. So you kind of want to get out of there. Like transport is an issue. Well, not an issue, but people are just trying to get out of there ASAP because it was midnight by the time it finished, maybe 11:30.
No, on the Sunday it wasn't that late. It was probably like 9:30 or 9:45 or 10 something p.m.
Still though, Sunday
no,
night,
people,
you
people
want
definitely
to work
stayed for the
tomorrow.
trophy lift and like I mean, I didn't see not everybody would have stayed, but yeah, there was a good amount of non G2 fans there to celebrate G2's win, or at least that's how I felt as somebody who was in the venue there. Everybody around me was cheering for Falcons. Nobody that I could see left. They all stayed. But yeah, it was cool. The views. I wanted to say shout out Blast for the viewer setups because the view party setups because they look sick. They all looked really really cool, and they've gone up to a different level when it comes to. I've talked to the Rocket Baguette guys. I know they've told me that this is like the most included they've ever felt to a Rocket League event. Well, Copenhagen and this one, like having a legit
Oh, that's nice.
setup. I think before they had to bring in a bunch of stuff, like their own hardware, their own, like, I don't know, sound. I'm not sure what they had to bring, but I know they don't have to bring anything now. They just pull up and go. Maybe they do bring something, but yeah, they definitely are like more integrated now, which is really cool. And the other language streams as well, the other view parties, it's all very well done. So good job, Blast, on that front. It's awesome.
Yeah, great event. We had the after party as well. Fantastic, just for the staff, the talent, everyone at the venue.
No,
So
CJ, I don't think that's actually happened. I think you've dreamt that. I'm pretty sure there was definitely not an after party, and
sorry, there wasn't an after
definitely
party.
not for staff, and none of the players should look for that because it doesn't exist and doesn't happen.
Yeah, sorry.
Definitely don't.
And it's
No.
just it's something. It's great that the players, yeah, that there wasn't one, but it was great
so
that
good
if
that
there
there
was
wasn't
one,
one.
it would have been
If there was, it
fantastic.
would have
I
been
reckon,
good, yeah.
just to
But there
chat
wasn't.
to the staff, but it would have been fantastic if there
It would
was
have been really
one.
good,
But
yeah. The players would have loved
s-
it if there was one, but there
I
wasn't.
would have. It
obviously.
would have been fantastic. But
Oh,
anyway,
so good.
what I was going to say with London, it was a busy week in London. We're talking Taylor Swift. We're talking Foo
Euros.
Fighters. We're talking, what's that girl? What's that? Girls Aloud? Is that like British? I actually hadn't heard of those.
Wait, were
girls,
Girls Aloud playing? I didn't even know about
Girls
that
Aloud
one.
were at the O2. I think like Green Day might have been there as well.
And the Euros, obviously, although I
and the
don't want
Euros
to talk
were
about
on.
that too much, because yeah, Scotland literally lost to Hungary in the 90+10 during the, like, oh my goodness. Like, I didn't get to watch any Scotland games this Euros. They just lost in groups again. If they had made it out of groups, then I'd be at the fan zone in Glasgow for the top 16, but not gonna happen. Just another L in the group stage. I can't believe it though. I just saw it on my phone. It was like 90+10. I was like, that's gotta be a mistake. That's gotta be a joke. There's absolutely no way they've lost in 100 minutes.
Classic.
It would have gone out with a draw anyway, though. It's like the silver lining. Now that the other groups have finished, the draw would not have sufficed. So doesn't matter. Shame.
But people are
US
wondering,
lost to Panama. Wait, Panama have a football team?
Isn't that?
Do they have a canal at the halfway line? Like, I didn't
I was
realize
going to
Panama
say that. Is it just a canal? How do you get there?
Is it floating in the middle of the? What? How is the US lost to Panama? Although I say
people are
that,
asking,
but actually, Euros is ridiculous this year.
Yeah, people are asking, I guess, viewership numbers down and stuff, but I mean, there's so much on, and even the crowd, like there was so much. I don't know if you guys can see this, but like this was us. I think this was after the Foo Fighters concert, like right next to the Copper Box. Everyone trying to get on the train.
Oh my word!
It was like a zombie apocalypse. It was literally like a zombie apocalypse.
Jeez. And that's just Foo Fighters. That's not even Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift wasn't playing
that's just
in
Foo
this
Fighters.
area. Nah, it was different level. It was so busy.
Wait,
it was
I'm
crazy.
sorry, I'm confused. Was this Foo Fighters concert in London?
Yeah.
It was at the West Ham Stadium, like the big
Our
London
hotel was
stadium next to
full of Foo Fighters
Copper
fans.
Box.
Slayer. Our hotel was absolutely packed with them. They were
Okay.
like more Foo Fighters fans than Rocket League fans by far. We ran into a few Rocket League fans in the mall, but
So it was busy,
Wow.
and after the concert, then everywhere where we were, like all the pubs, restaurants, clubs, whatever, not really clubs, there's not really clubs around in Stratford, but everything was packed, and so even the casino was pretty packed as well. So it was a little bit busy, which wasn't awesome because it was hard to sort of find a place to go to hang out that wasn't.
should have come a Hackney, CJ. It should have come a Hackney.
Yeah,
That's
Johnny
where I
would
went.
send a message
Went
and he'd be
Hackney.
like, "Hey, I'm on the other side of London. If you want to come,
Listen,
like, how the hell did you get there?
London's a
50
large
minutes
place.
away?
It's not. The Hackney is not on the other side. It's like 25 minutes on the tube, maybe 20 in the Uber. Not that far. It's a good location. I'd recommend it. It's a bit hipstery though. I will admit, a bit hipstery in Hackney, but it was not absolutely packed, like full of people. So I'd recommend.
I feel like that's just in general classic Johnny, by the way. So like,
what do you
he's
mean?
Like, he's hey, by the way, we're gonna be here in 3 minutes, and you look at the map, and it's 30 minutes away. It's like,
You're like,
oh, okay, all right, I guess we'll just be heading over there.
I mean,
now.
see, you think I didn't put in the? I
2
invested
nights
those
in a row
38
we did
minutes
it.
as well.
2 nights in a row. We're in Hackney. Oh, we're in bloody Middlesbrough or something. I don't know where else you went the other night.
It was just Hackney again. It was Hackney twice. It's the closest, like, bar spot to Stratford. So I was like, all right, Hackney it is then. But yeah, Hackney's cool. It was a good spot.
All right, well, let's talk about Rocket League. Okay, let's talk about the actual gameplay, the core of the major. I guess let's start a little bit smaller. What did you guys think overall about the Swiss stage? I know you guys talked about how long the days were and how many you guys were there 12 hours start to finish, but like overall experience of watching Swiss, being there for a part of Swiss, how was that?
Yep, it was very Swissy. I think
Classic.
the exciting thing for the Swiss was there was still a fair few world scenarios on the line. We had
Yeah.
Sam, we had Mina. Obviously, we had the big one with Oxygen K Corp.
Chiefs as well, right?
Chiefs, yeah, we had OCE, and we had, if Mobula got top 2, that was exciting. We were thinking,
Oh,
boy,
that
like,
could
boy,
have
if
been
they
high. Yeah,
they
what
3
are
at
the
this
odds
Swiss
of that?
stage, the sky's the limit for this for VKSailen. But yeah, so there were a few scenarios in the Swiss, which was cool, and obviously after a couple of months going back to a major, there's always those question marks. Round one, every matchup is cross region, so it's exciting to see. You don't really know where everyone's at.
Didn't Team Secret, like, since now that you mentioned it, didn't they clinch Worlds with the win over OG? Because they already had a tiebreaker, I think, with the win over
Yep,
Chiefs.
with
I
complexity.
think
Then
they
they
did,
clinched Worlds Game 5 versus OG. And yeah, the only reason I can remember I casted that, but I don't remember if that was a clinch because I casted so many games on these days. I'm like, where am I? But yeah, that was a sick series. That was an absolute heater. If you missed it, that's one I would definitely
The
recommend
trash
going back
talk
and watch.
was up
Yes.
as well.
Oh my! Like the teams were sitting like you know how usually they're opposite, like across from each other in the Swiss stage. This time they were kind of like at two sides of a corner, so they were yelling diagonally across to each other. And I
Oh,
think
okay.
Tom was sitting on the left, closest to Team Secret, so he was right there. He didn't even have to look over his monitor. He just looks to the left of his monitor, and you can see him staring. It was insane. Like the tension, the trash talk. And the match was really,
He
really good.
was
That's one to watch back.
obviously OG knew that Secret needed to win. They had the tiebreaker, but they needed to win, and he was using that to his advantage with some trash talk. He was, when it got to, going into game 5, I think he was trying to, I guess he was hoping the pressure would get to
staring
them.
down.
I think
You were just
I saw the
staring them
stare
down.
down. Yeah, I actually forgot about
Yeah.
that. But
There was a couple of in-game messages going back and forth, which is, I think it's all in good fun at the end of it. Obviously nothing was on the line for OG. They didn't want to get eliminated, but obviously everything on the line still for Secret. But I love it. I love the going into the fire with another team, and afterwards you shake hands, you fist bump.
They did shake hands after. They
Yeah.
did.
It's
Nah, that was an absolute scorcher of a series. I also really enjoyed casting Gen G Power. Sorry, Power. I've got to mention this one though. It's a great series. It was just so funny. At the end of the day, Stumpy and I are exhausted. Very last series, the 9th series in a row on the mainstream, and it just Power were just not playing. They were just down 4-0, 3-0, 1-0. I'm like, great. This is what a series to finish the day off. And then out of nowhere, they scored 2 goals. Oh my goodness. It felt like I was watching Scotland at the World Cup again. I'm like, this is it. We've done it. We've scored a goal. It was the exact same feeling I had. I was like, this is the pit of despair, and now the smallest win is like, we got thrown in their half. That was basically it. They got a couple of goals. It was good fun.
yeah, I like the sarcastic casting. Also, speaking of, well, I don't know if it was sarcastic cast. There was a lot of passion in this one, but the Gen G versus G2 match of Bates and Daz commentating that. I think that was
hilarious.
Bates' first
Comedy.
professional cast, or
It
cast
was.
in general, probably.
It
Well,
was.
I guess he does G2
Well,
cast,
he casts all the time on the G2 stream.
Yeah.
But now he
But his
did
first
the
RLCS
same
cast.
thing, full bias cast. He's been practicing for this all year. He did the G2 stream all year. So, I mean, he was made for this. Actually, he's casted more like that than actual casting where you're not biased. So, yeah, that was sick. And yeah, they both just went full team stream vibe. I think it was their idea, and everybody backed it. There had to be like a shuffle of who casts what because of that, but everybody was on board. Like, yes, give us that.
Shout out Blast for
deliver.
that as well. They were also like, yeah, let's do it, which is really cool, because you could be like, T-Bates has never cast before, RLCS. Maybe let's do it in an online Friday, not a LAN round 4, but it was an all-timer.
What a match as well. Game 5 OT, almost 2 minutes of OT in Game 5. Like, insane match there between G2 and Gen G. I need to watch. That's another one to watch back. I'd say that and the Team Secret OG are 2 of the best matches from Swiss that you got to go watch back. And also BDS Falcons was a Game 5 OT. That's a good match to watch back if you missed it. From Swiss. Any other big Swiss matches, DJ?
Obviously, as you were saying, Power not getting perfect swept was huge. You and Stumpy going off.
Enjoyed that one. Oxygen Furia. That was Game 5, and that was a disaster class. That was a great series, though. I love disaster class Rocket League. But Shame for Octodon.
Round 1 as well, Oxygen losing was probably the story of round number 1. Power beating Oxygen straight off the bat round 1. We were like, okay, because everyone's thinking maybe Oxygen are a top 4 team of the event, and then they lose to OCE in the first round. So that was big.
Yeah, immediately you're like, okay, maybe not. This is getting a little questionable. They did make it all the way to round 5. I feel like every time, like, I even thought, like, Oxygen has a chance to make it out of Swiss, but I feel like every time I go through and watch a Swiss stage, it's always like, I think it's the best for competitive integrity to actually truly get the best top 8 teams, which means it probably is going to drag on a little bit. But every time I watch it, I feel like it drags on, and I'm like a team loses in the first round, and I'm like, okay, no big deal, whatever. You have so many more chances. Like say SSG losing to Falcons. It's like, okay, well now they're going to get matches versus, I mean, they got Mobula, Power, and then Furia.
You want a bit more cutthroat for LAN entertainment.
I
see that.
Truthfully, if they had 16 powerhouse teams, which I don't even know if it's possible, because like who do you add? Like an EU5? I mean, EU5 would be crazy because it's KC, but like NA5, I don't think it's gonna do anything.
NA5 with Shopify, that would be a good team. You could add NA5. You got EU, like, 5, 6, 7. There would definitely be 16 teams somewhere that would be competitive.
Yeah, it just feels like
Sam have got like 3 or 4. Like, there's a lot.
The way all the regions are distributed, it feels like Swiss to me is always kind of just all right, let's get this over with type of thing.
What if it was there was 2 changes since the previous seasons. I think 2 seasons ago there was 3 days for Swiss, not 2. And now last season there was a C stream online to make
it was a C stream. Yeah.
There was a C stream. So like all you would need to do actually on a C stream is play 2 matches on the C stream, just two rounds to massively reduce the length of the entire thing. So that would be smart, I think.
You know what else they did? They did one of the worst moves in competitive esports history that I've ever seen in my life.
Okay,
I don't know if you guys, big call. I don't know if you guys caught this because you're there busy, whatever, you're snacking, whatever. I don't know if you're casting, whatever. They had Chiefs and Gladiators at the same time as Twisted Minds versus Mobula, and those are they're both elimination games. But why would they do that when they could just have G2 and Falcons on the mainstream and then Chiefs Gladiators on the B stream and then Vitality Fury on the mainstream and Twist Minds Mobula? Like, why did they do them together? That was the worst watch of the entire tournament. Like, I was like, man, I seriously have to. Well, I don't have to watch it for 40 minutes, but I'm like, I gotta be here for 40 minutes to see this. Like,
I think they want to put like they try and like spread out who's on the mainstream at some point, like. Where
they
Chiefs
want
on there at all, I think.
I don't even care if they put G2 Falcons on B stream. If they put Chiefs Gladiators on mainstream, G2 Falcons on B stream, just like don't do Chiefs Gladiators.
So what you're saying is
at the same time.
You should put the B stream should be a good match or like a really high quality match when Chiefs Gladiators is playing on A.
Yeah, I don't care who's on what stream.
Instead of doing both the 0-2s.
I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, I'm with you. I think
the only reason they don't do that is because so they've got to find a balance between the fairness, like the competitive integrity aspect, and also the entertainment value. Because yes, I agree, it would be more entertaining if like Falcons G2s on B stream and then Vitality Fury is on A stream right after, so you're not forced to watch a 0-2 round. If you're just not interested in Global Rocket League, that's fine. Like, you don't have to be interested. But if they did that, if you're a Falcons play, at that point, then their next match will be pretty soon because they go again in round 4 and then they go again in round 5. Like, that would be a long day. Like, G2 lost to Falcons. If they lose to Gen G in game 5, then they're gonna have to play again, and that's a long day. It's a long day for us casting. It's an even longer day for them playing if they have to go like from the very start to the very end.
What's the big deal? These guys just play video games.
Yeah, no big deal. Just jump on the pitch, 5 minutes. Just do that 3 times.
I mean, what do these guys do? Just hop in there, hit a ball. It can't be that hard.
Kind of weird, though, that you didn't appreciate watching Twisted Minds taking on Mobula, because that, for me, was probably the series of the Swiss. Watching VK sit in net, he was a human wall in there, and he just getting that one win was huge. I mean, just showing why they deserve to be there was massive. Obviously, Twisted Minds got the job done, but all eyes were on Mobula. Just so that one game win they had was incredible. I think you'd agree with that, Johnny. It was so impressive. I mean, they won 2-1 in overtime. There was a 3-minute overtime, and that really got the hopes up for the region.
No, I thought it was actually clutch though. That I did. Did they put every team on A stream? Obviously, everybody in the top 8 made A stream at some point, so we can chalk them off. Oxygen were on A stream at some point, and Power. They opened the entire tournament on A. Secret and OG were on A. Gladiator Chiefs were both on A at some point. Did Twisted Minds play on A stream at any point during the tournament? Did that happen? I don't think they played Gentlemates on A. Did they play OG on A? Was that on A stream?
Was that not on
match?
A stream? Twisted Minds Mobula? I think that was on.
No, Twisted Minds
Oh,
Mobula
jeez.
was on B. I think Mobula were the only team who were not on A stream, and I'm just saying, can we get a round of applause for whoever scheduled that? 'Cause that's absolutely genius. Like, to send them home without putting them on A stream, I mean, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Absolute cinema from another W blast move.
Another W.
I mean, these guys
I don't
just
know how
keep
they do
getting it done.
Just it's
Absolutely
W
amazing.
after W. And
Honestly, we should have put them on the C. Like, we should have had a C stream just for them. Like, just that's
had
what
the
we should have
pleasure
done.
of casting that
Speed
series
this up.
though. Had the pleasure of talk. It was me and Lemon on that series, and I had an absolute ball. And just again, when they got that one win, I think I said it on the cast. I said, finally, we're getting some competition out of SSA 1-9 because they've definitely never won a game or a series before, and that is why they're there, because they're finally showing up for SSA. They're going over there, they're getting the job done, and they are dropping 0.4 octane ratings on your head. And it was that overtime was something. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch that series. Just they had so much support as well, so it was good.
All right, should we just get into that then?
Yeah, okay, let's get into it.
Maybe we should probably talk about that because VK did tweet. Yeah, does anyone have the tweet handy? We can come back to the
have it.
Major Talk playoffs.
Yeah, we'll
Let's
wrap
talk
up
playoffs
right
after.
He actually made
Okay,
a
let's-
follow-up tweet, which I just saw as I was scrolling through
Oh,
this. He made a
okay.
follow-up tweet 8 hours ago. It's not an apology, but anyway. VKSailen, star player for Mobula, ends up tweeting, moved to SSA to take a region spot from SSA, by the way. He tweets, "Every day I spent in London made me think more that I made the right decision on taking over the SSA spot. None of the minor regions deserve this when other players that deserve it more because of their level or on COVID era lost their opportunity." Speaking of himself as one of those players, because there was a lane he qualified for and then it was canceled during COVID. "I hope players around the world see what we have done and do the same. Going to the minor regions to take their spot until real good players from those continents improve to take their spot back. That's how things should be done. Prioritize competitive level, not just having a spot because you think you deserve it." And I mean, can we just get another round of applause for
Can we get another round of
the
applause?
fucking truth?
I mean,
For the truth.
Someone's got to say it. Someone has got to come out and say it. We're all thinking it.
Salute our Patriots. He's so brave. Come on. I mean, that's what we're talking about right there.
nah, he's got to be joking. He's got to be trolling because I think he's from the start been a little bit rage baity, but
Yep.
this one takes the cake.
Well,
I
actually,
don't
his
believe
reply-
that that's serious.
His
That is
reply is
outrageous.
an image of him earning a PlayStation trophy. It says, "You've earned a trophy. Be the first to unify the Rocket League community." Because, in case you don't know, all the replies to that tweet and all the quote replies to that tweet, not all of them, but probably 95% of them, were absolutely dunking on this guy. And a lot of them were actually from pro players. Like, I saw
Vatira, massive.
Ahmad, Garrett, there was Chicago, Hoxer, Frosty, Drufinho, Yan. I mean, I just keep scrolling, then there's more. Mateus, the coach for Furia. You just keep going. and
Chicago was
there's-
in there. You were in there. You know.
so there's so many
Oh
people
my days.
that are absolutely
You
dunking.
farmed all of those impressions. That's what he's done. He farmed
He
all the
got
impressions.
850,000 impressions on that tweet. I hope he turned some ads on that bad boy because he is making
Look
bank
at
this month.
There are more replies than likes. That is insane. Usually it's like more replies than retweets. There's more replies than likes. Wow.
If he did that that would have been an all-time interview at the event. If he said that after going 1-9 and saying, "See, this is what I'm talking about. Everyone else, you can do this too. You see this? You see this 1-9 at the event? You see the 0-3?
So
That's for all you guys out there. Hop on over."
So yeah, that's
Be
like
competitive.
here, I can drag this onto the screen as well as a makeshift image real quick, or makeshift production. But like that's also the crazy thing about tweeting that is he legitimately was people don't like it in general that they went to SSA and took the spot, and it's like, okay, it's kind of a no-no, it's frowned upon, all that stuff. But it's like he's so loud about it. And it's like you're already getting so much hate for it, but then to continue, I guess, like talking about it like this. But then also, this is the Octane rating. I just popped over CJ's head. He was the worst performer at the LAN event. He was a 0.66 rating, the bottom of the barrel. So he's talking about like, oh, I'm so glad we took this spot from players that don't deserve it. And then he literally is one of the players that wouldn't deserve it.
Yeah.
Being at the bottom, like he's just, it's just the same thing.
Also farming saves as well. Like imagine if he wasn't in net. He dropped a 0.1 goals per game, which is not exactly the highest. No, look, it's I mean, he's certainly well, his whole thing, right, is that he wants to be Pokemon catch 'em all. He wants to make a land in every region.
He
That's
does,
I haven't
yeah.
actually heard him say that, but that's what everyone tells me he has said somewhere or tweeted it somewhere.
He's on a
Honestly,
big inspirational journey,
come on
CJ.
down.
Look how many people he's already inspired. Think about how many more he's going to inspire when he does it in OCE. I mean, I'm
Come
inspired.
on down. Come on down, and surely he knows what he's doing though. Like did he really
I
think people
it's
would
gotta
go,
be trolling.
yeah, let's do it. You've inspired me. I'm
Yeah, I'm moving. Let's go.
You know, the interesting part to me though is the COVID era thing. Like he's trying to say that because there weren't RLCS lands during the COVID era when he was on a top team, he won
He
a
made an
regional in
event.
EU with the original team Queso, Demensa, and Atomic, or it's the EU Atomic. So yeah, back then I guess he's trying to indicate that I would have made a land back then, so this is me just recuperating. Listen, that doesn't work. You can't just have every single COVID era player go to SSA, APAC, like, and recuperate their lands that they missed. That's not how this works. But yeah, obviously, I think it's got to just be some super copium plus rage baiting.
I think he's
nonsense.
genuinely rage baiting because he also made a presentation, 30-second presentation on reasons why Mobula are better than KC, and it's just an absolute troll production.
Yeah,
like,
there's definitely some true rage baiting going on. But I mean,
he's just a troll.
the fact that he's thrown that in there though, the whole like players who didn't get what they deserve now, so now they they deserve it more than you because they actually did won a regional blah 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 during COVID. Like that's so ridiculous. Like come on, if you're the 50th best team in EU and you just happen to be on like one of the top teams in EU during COVID, that's just bad luck. But it's like even harder is actually having to play your entire Rocket League existence from that region, like one of the newer regions. That's even harder. So if you want to try and point fingers and say, hey, we didn't get what we deserved in COVID, we would have qualified for lands that got cancelled because of a global pandemic. The SSA just got invited to majors this season. That is their second major they've ever played, and they've had their spot taken away because number one, the rules for some reason allow it, which is we talked about this before. I think it's really the rules are lazy. They should just have the 2/3 rule / some
I'm confident
real
they'll
ID
change it.
location. I hope they change it because the rules right now the rules are lazy. It's just like a very quick way to admin events. Hey, we don't have to check where players are from. Don't have to check if they're playing in the right region. Cool. That takes away a lot of work from whoever has to administer the rules. No, the rules are stupid. They're really dumb. And if they had to be that way in order for this season to get expedited, fair enough. But we all hope that changes because there needs to be a 2/3 rule. There needs to be some kind of like you got to be in the location to play. Otherwise, this isn't going to be fair for these teams who are trying to get up. And you talk about inspiration. No, this isn't inspiring anybody. Like, if it's inspiring anyone, it's inspiring the wrong kind of people. It's inspiring people who don't deserve to qualify.
Speak for yourself, buddy. Me and Rizzo running that bad boy back in SSA.
By the way, CJ and I are moving to Seoul.
No one is inspired.
We're moving to Seoul. We're gonna start something over there. No, look, I think it's
the SSA community have talked about how they're now like Greybeard has gone on record saying, or was it? No, it's one of the tweets we talked about. Oh, I forgot who it was. Maybe someone in chat can remember. But they said that young kids in SSA are like losing motivation to play. Yeah, they're tweeting about how they're happy with their impact they've had in the Rocket League scene, but to see the young players, the new generation of SSA coming through, and they're like, well, what's the point? Some like other retired, washed up player from EU is just going to come and take our spot before we have a chance to go through the ranks and get better. And if you're not getting any kind of tournament experience while you do that, what's the point? Like nobody's going to make that effort.
we've gone from like remember Realize's interview in Sweden when they finally, they were at the major and he, was brought to tears for that. That was one of the most special, most moving interviews that there's ever. I probably just is the best interview I've ever seen in RLCS, and we've kind of gone from that to now this of, what we're getting now, just like, stuff them. Like, it's all about who, competition. If they want to, they're not competitive enough. They've had their chance. It's like, well, no, they haven't had their chance. And I think it's different from, I saw LCT was talking about what's the difference between this and APAC, which I thought was a weird tweet from LCT because he's playing with an import.
We should read that.
You
I
can bring
have it
that
right up. It's popping up over your face right now. LCT said, "Am I wrong? But I don't see a difference between what Mobula and other teams with imports are doing. They're all on the same boat." And Max said, "You didn't have a problem with it when the import was on your team." Yeah, no shit, because it was free wins. I never have a problem with it if they were on my team. Cheeky. And they're just fucking laughing about it.
These guys look, I mean,
It's just hilarious.
these guys are idiots. I think
Oh,
we
my
spoke about
days.
imports and the importance of actually integrating into the community. I think that's the worst part about the Mobula thing is because they're so openly saying, we don't care about this region. They're just not good enough. So we're going to have your spot. Rather than, you can say for people were talking about Realize like, oh, well, he actually is just as bad because then he was playing with imports. But I think it's still different because you see Vert has sort of basically integrated himself into APAC. He's been living there. And, whether there needs to be a rule, like we've talked about before, living there for a couple of years until you're recognised as a player from that region so you can compete, whether it's a 2/3 rule. There has to be something, I think, to stop this happening. I think we'll see a rule change next season.
Yeah, the Vart situation, initially he went over there, Cammy went over there from OCE. We talked about that many times in the podcast for years now, since that happened 2 years ago. But yeah, the Cammy situation is less of a, like, when you go EU to SSA, you're going from the, most dominant region to the newest region. When you go OCE to APAC, you're going from you're going one step down because OCE and APAC are like next to each other in the.
It's
in
like
the food
going
chain.
EU to MENA. It's because they're playing in the same servers as well, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
That's what a lot of people mention is like their argument. A lot of times is like, well, I don't see the difference between like what Jack did by going to NA. But like my biggest thing with that is like when you go to SSA, like you are immediately just at an advantage by playing in a region that has electricity 24/7. Because SSA doesn't, South Africa doesn't. Like I've looked into this a little bit. I've also talked to players a little bit about it. But like every day, 2 to 8 hours throughout the day, they don't have electricity. There is, God, can HK find the tweet or something?
So insane.
There's the tweet of the guy hooking up jumper cables to his car to his generator to be able to play in RLCS that weekend. I'm not even kidding. I need to find somebody. Please find that tweet so I can show that on the stream.
That's so insane.
Running through his window.
These guys don't have electricity all hours of the day, so it's like it's that's the main thing for me. It's like you're truly taking advantage of like just a disadvantaged region.
I mean, the whole part, and again, though, as well, VKSailen wants to talk about inspiration. He hopes that this inspires other washed-up players to go and do this. Well, I mean, I hope not, because nobody wants to watch them play. Literally no one cares. Like, no one cares if you can go from EU as washed-up players and win in a smaller, newer region. It's like, well done. Congratulations. You have had every advantage. You have had better practice for years, and you still don't even win that comfortably. It's like nobody cares. I'm genuinely glad I didn't have to cast their games. I'm sorry the CJ had to, because I don't care. I actually just don't care about the whole story. They don't have a story, in my opinion. Their existence in this space is just nothing. Like, there's just a hole where there could have been an SSA team that would mean something. Now there's just nothing. There's just a blank spot on SSA's RLCS history. So it's worthless. And if any other teams do decide to do it again next year, because the rules don't get changed, which obviously we hope that that's not the case. Hopefully the rules get changed to not allow this to happen. But yeah, if any teams do that, then they're just relegating themselves to nothingness. They just become irrelevant to me and to, I'm sure, most people watching, because nobody cares. Nobody gives a monkeys if you can do that. It's not something that inspires anyone. Whereas if an actual SSA team would go there, a kid from SSA could be watching that thinking, okay, hold on a second, I didn't know that was a thing that you could do. I'm gonna look at looking at playing that game. That's pretty cool. And that's how you get the next generation. That's how you get France dominating us from watching the previous generation of French players. That's how you get, all of these regions that are improving rapidly. South America, MENA. That's how that happens. From watching, if do you think MENA new generation would be coming through if like a bunch of EU teams went there first season and just beat everyone? Well, number one, it wouldn't be easy, but it just wouldn't work. Nobody would be inspired by that. That's not actually, I don't know, achieving anything. So I hope it stops.
I'm gonna pull up
And
the
I think,
pictures as
they're
well
worthless.
of the generator incident of the.
Okay.
Wait, who is this? This is from Olympic. Oh, that's a very big image. This is his
That's
car.
insane.
This is his car. All
Wow.
Holy car,
all
lime car
revved
as well.
up
It's
there,
gonna-
and then you can see the
You ain't losing that car in the
jumper
dark.
cables
That's for
right
sure.
into the generator.
Wow.
And the tweet,
Respect.
I forgot what the tweet says. It says, "This is how I'm playing RLCS."
This is resourceful though. Listen, zombie apocalypse. We need this guy. Get him involved.
He's
He's
probably
gonna-
gonna
he's gonna
pass
sort
out
us
from the
out.
fumes coming through his window as well. Yeah, it's and like you talk about the stories you get. It's in the first major, it was all about sort of Sphinx. He was kind of the up and coming player. I mean, how exciting was that? And if it was a random EU person coming over that's like, oh, he's kind of mechy, you just wouldn't care. But the fact that you got a homegrown talent, Sphinx from Malaysia, competing at an APAC, and you're like, oh, he's got mech, and it's cool to like follow them. You're not expecting them to win the event, but it creates interest still in the region. So. Yeah, it's all about the next generation.
Listen, hey, the fact that they always lose is not like the people. A lot of people will watch them lose. 2 events in a row, 3 events, 4 events in a row. How many times was it APAC lost in a row before Realize beat a legitimate EU team in wildcard last year with Kami and Vart? That was talk about like legendary Realize moments. The celebration after that match was unreal. So. Those are the moments, like, yeah, you got to invest a lot of losses before you finally win one, but I feel like Rocket League fans should be quite used to that. There's decent amount of parity these days. No, like, team historically is just 1, 6, 7 world championships or majors in a row. There's a lot of, how many times have we gotten, since if we take out Vitality's 2 in a row, like, every major, every LAN is just a different squad. So, yeah, we should be used to that. Gotta give it time. Gotta give these regions time. We should talk about though. Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say it's good that everyone's on the same page though with it for the most part. I know that he's got 800 likes on the tweet, but I think for the most part you can see their reaction from the pros, and I think it was big for a player like Vatira, who's obviously at the other end of the competitive spectrum, if you would, of the scale. To still also recognise how important it is. He's not someone that's like, actually, no, I want it to be 16 of the best teams in the world. No, it's important for these regions to have talent, have homegrown talent, and people to look up to. So, I was pretty impressed with Vatira's reply on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should talk again about the whole like LCT reply though, and like finish off in case people haven't listened to the previous discussions of this about the comment that all teams with any import talent are in the same boat. Obviously, we touched on it a little bit. It's not the same to go from EU to NA as it is from EU to SSA, but. Yeah, thoughts on ZPS to Elevate and Tho to Gladiators? Like, is this getting a little bit too? Actually, ZPS to Elevate's one. That's one import out of 3. So I guess fair enough there. But yeah, Tho, Vart, and Max. Like, is that APAC enough? We've got Max is APAC. He's got an Irish flag on Wikipedia, which confuses some people, but he is Singapore resident, Singapore passport. Vart has been there for 1.5 years-ish. Is that enough? 1 in chat if you think that's enough. 2 if you think not APAC enough. We need to make the rules more strict so that doesn't happen in the future.
I think there's a threshold where it's kind of cool or good for the region. If you get one, I think that creates excitement when you get one import over. Do you know what I mean? It's like one player on a team. It creates a bit of a buzz, and I think I don't mind. I think it's cool especially if they're over there, they're playing, they're in ranked and stuff. I think if I was a player, if I was in APAC and I saw a NA or EU, like one player coming over to be picked up on the top team, I think I'd be looking forward to competing against them, scrimming against them, playing against them. But when it's like a whole stupid team just comes over, smashes everyone in a tournament and leaves, you're like, okay, well, that was a bit shit. But I don't mind one import per team.
travels
Yeah.
there
Yeah,
for the
one
weekend for
import
better
seems fine.
ping, and then heads back home.
Wish it. So
Yeah, yeah, one's fine. I think we've talked about this before. I think the line's blurred on vert depending on how long somebody has to be in a region before they're considered APAC. Like, do they qualify as an APAC player, or are they still an import? So I think to me, he still feels like an import player. Vert. He's not been there quite long enough, but maybe next season he'll start to feel more like an APAC player. Like, third season in a row now. He's really invested heavily in the region, and he's been there for a long time. 2 years for me would be ideal. You do 2 years, fine. You can be a APAC player, but I mean, a lot of people would say one. A lot of people said one in chat. They think is fine, and they think that Gladiators, bringing one APAC player this season, one more the next season is, or one import player one season, then another the next season is fine. I guess it's like one of those that we're just gonna have to disagree on. I was trying to think. There's one other thing on this topic before we moved on. And I've totally forgotten what it was.
I have something just
Okay,
to potentially
go.
finish it off. So actually, somebody in chat asked me this maybe like 2 days ago or a day ago or something after the major.
yeah.
And and they were wondering. I think this is a very specific scenario of EU5 being KC, but imagine KC was at the major, right? And EU5 was Oxygen. So they're asking, would I rather see SSA at the major or EU5 because it's going to be more competitive with EU5? And my genuine thought process was I would much rather see SSA because it means like if Oxygen go to the major and they go 1-3 or 2-3, it means nothing. But if SSA go to the major and they actually win a game, it's
1-3,
it's
huge.
progress. Yeah, if they go through and they take a series versus somebody, it means a lot more, so much more to them in general.
Well, I think we're at the stage now where, and I hate this because it always comes back to like OCE, and when there's 16 spots, everyone goes, well, X region, OCE doesn't deserve to, this region doesn't deserve to, we need to give an extra spot to EU, an extra spot to NA. But I think that's the wrong. We should be looking to expand. I think 20 teams would be perfect. You get an extra spot for EU. No one loses a spot, but you can reward you can give extra spots to the competitive teams, so you do get that EU5 seed. I just think instead of I guess trying to fight amongst each other, we need to be advocating for like 20 teams. I think we're just at that point now in RLCS. I think we need 20 team majors to make sure that they get enough points that, if we don't have a wild card, I think it's even more important that we have more teams at the majors because it gives more teams a chance to get enough points to still be in the running for the World Championships.
I think
you could even have like a wild card. Yeah.
No
well,
way.
you could have a wild card. You could have a wild card at majors if you wanted to like make it a little bit more of like a play-in almost, where you have to beat a couple of the other teams like EU5, NA5, MENA 3, SAM 3, APAC SSA, OCE2, whatever. You get the idea. Like if every team's in there and it's more like all these teams playing against each other where the top 4 go through, top 4 of 8 or something. That's a pretty cool event actually. It's like a little warm up, I think, to the main event. And I wouldn't mind that as long as it was given enough prestige. Because if it's just some small thing in a back room, not really any production value, I wouldn't like it. But wildcard was pretty legit. The wildcards we've had in the past, especially one with the crowd, that was definitely legit. So I'd love to see that. I mean, we've got to consider now that RLCS was downsized this year, obviously due to costs. I mean, that's everybody knows that. That's esports right now. So if we were to get 10% more, 20% more, what would you actually want for that money? 20% more investment, I mean, into Rocket League. If it starts to get built back again, what do we prioritize? That's my question to finish off this this topic. What do we actually want? What would be your list of order of most important things? Because some people say,
wait, just like in general for Rocket League Esports?
Yeah, some people say get wildcard back. Some people say get 3 majors again. Some people say get more teams at majors. Some people say get scrap RLCS is fine, leave it, get something in the off season. Me personally, I like putting money into 1s and 2s in some kind of official way. 3v3 is already like pretty big. What are your guys' thoughts? What would be your priority if there's a limit? We can't have everything, What do you choose?
If there's a limit, I would just say like, I don't know, if they just have a injection of some funds, I would say try to host like 2 more lands, not even RLCS oriented, not a major, not worlds, but try to get international competition at LAN events. Like have a qualification bracket, and then if the teams qualify, you send them in. Have like 1 spot in SSA, have 1 spot in, you know, like APAC, all that stuff to actually get international competition, and then send them all to one place. That's that's true. That's all I want. I just want international competition at a bunch of lands. I don't care if it's Swiss into playoffs or whatever. Could just be one.
Is that like
double
3s, 2s, 1s, or
3s?
anything?
I would like 3s actually.
Yeah. Okay. I think priority 1 for me, I think wildcard just adds so much to the entire season, to every single event, to every major. Just having wildcard, it just means regions are supporting their own regions because you want extra spots. It means that by Major 2, there's still going to be so many scenarios on the line, whether your region's going to earn an extra spot, whether one team's going to climb over another team to get into the wild card. There's just more spots for every region. There's chances to get more spots for every. I think it makes the entire season more interesting, both online and at LAN. So I think for me, if it was like just one thing, I think that'd be the first.
Wild card.
Obviously, it'd be ideal to have more spots at majors, more spots at worlds, whatever. But I think that's probably, for me, step 1, just because I think it makes the entire season more interesting than what we had now, where we got to the playoffs at London, everything was already locked in. And at that point, we spoke about it in our Patreon episode, but just to rehash, it basically, by the playoffs, London didn't have any ramifications for worlds outside of seeding.
It was like seeding, and nobody cares because you're seeding for Swiss, so who cares?
It was just another LAN. It could have been at that point. By the time we got to playoffs, it could have just been a dream hack. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it was an RLCS major. It's huge, but there was nothing on the line for worlds. It was a standalone event once we got to the top 8 because there was nothing extra. It wasn't like, if G2 win, it means that Luminosity or Shopify can go to Worlds because they'll get an extra spot. There was just nothing there, so it just made London feel. Obviously, it was still special. It was great to watch, but there was nothing. It didn't have any. It was really unrelated to the season after the Swiss.
I actually loved the Worlds format that we used for the past 2 seasons. Was so good, where it was just top 16 were just split into 2 groups of 8, basically double elimination groups, and then top 8 single. Nothing wrong with that. The only thing I would probably change is mid to top 8 AFL. Then, yep, easy. That's just perfect. Because we've talked about this actually earlier. You mentioned to Rizzo that Swiss isn't a cutthroat format. That's what makes it so perfect for qualification. It's very good at finding out who the top 8 teams are. But on a LAN, do we actually want that? Do we want the best format? Should we run Swiss twice because more competitively, integral? Or do we have Swiss point system? Nah, that's just like way too many chances. Maybe we need to make it more cutthroat on LAN events so that we don't have like a billion matches. I don't like, maybe for majors it's fine, but Worlds this season I'm interested to see it because we've not had a Swiss at Worlds before outside of wildcard. So I like seeing new things, but. We need to revisit this after it happens and be like, was that too many chances for those teams?
Biggest problem with it, right? I think that the initial seed is way too strong in Swiss, right? So Oxygen losing round 1 against Power, I think they should be punished massively for that. I think Power should take Oxygen's seed then for the rest of the Swiss. But what happens is Oxygen lose, they're still recognized as the, I don't know what seed they were, like the 6th seed, the 7th seed, whatever they were.
Yeah, 6
maybe
or
the
7.
5th. Obviously, this game diff first, but they're still going to get great matchups. So Oxygen lose round 1 to Power, and then they get Gladiators in round 2. They get Twisted Minds. So they've beaten Gladiators and Twisted Minds. So they make round 5 of Swiss. They still need to make the event. They don't get punished for it, whereas like Power, who win, they then are still the worst seed. So they're playing G2. Yeah. They're playing. Yeah. I think if you win, take their seed.
Were they the worst?
If you lose,
were they worst? They won 3-1. I'm trying to see. Because, Power played G2. I mean, they were going to have a pretty tough match no matter what in that round. Anyway. It was all demons in that round. So, that was kind of like a given. But, maybe Swiss has run its course on LAN. It's phenomenal for qualifiers, for like open quals, for like online. It's probably the best, I think. Because it's just very, very consistent at getting to the best top 8 teams. But maybe on LAN, it would be, more interesting. There'd be more edge of your seat moments. and people actually glued to their screens wanted to watch if it was more cutthroat. 'Cause that's why single elim, that's why the playoffs get so good. But if it was like just double elim groups, like GSL groups in it, AFL playoffs, that sounds pretty sick.
Something to think about, and we do have fortunately enough, we have a lot of time until next season as well. So I'm sure we talk about the funny thing about this as well is I know someone mentioned, oh my god, Chalk, we're talking about format again. we had a chat last night. We weren't even live yet. Rizzo comes in and he's like, what are you guys talking about? Like, actually, we're just talking about the format. So even when we're not recording, even when we're not streaming, me and Johnny are still just talking. He's like, oh my god, you guys are talking about the format. We love it. We love talking about the format.
We've got to keep on cooking up format ideas because AFL playoffs is happening at Worlds. Where do you think that came from? Where do you think it came from, ladies and gentlemen? Like, we got to keep cooking.
Come from this right here. Yeah, exactly. Look, we've got a lot of time to talk about though. We'll move on because we've got a lot of time.
Yeah, let's talk playoffs. Because although playoffs, there were no scenarios pretty much. Basically, I mean, there were no. There were seeding scenarios for the playoffs at London, but like CJ said, they were so inconsequential because it was like, oh, are you going to be seed 2 or 3 in the world for Swiss? Nobody, it doesn't matter. So yeah, it was just an event for itself. That was it, and yeah, a lot of one-sided matches actually. It was less intense than Copenhagen. I'll say that. But yeah, Rizzo, what you got for us?
All right, I just want to throw out these matches and then give a quick take here. So the matches for the quarterfinals, right off the bat, were Vitality, Furia, Space Station versus G2, Falcons versus Gen G, and Gentlemates versus BDS. And look, if you didn't watch Gentlemates versus BDS, that was an absolute thriller.
Slaughter.
Oh. No, I actually just had to throw this in there, and I'm not here to just dunk on people, but that was from BDS was the worst performance I think I've ever seen in probably the past like 3 years. Like that, it was genuinely so bad to watch. I was like embarrassed for them. I'm not even kidding. I wish I could just like it didn't seem like Gentlemates were outplaying them. It didn't seem like Gentlemates were even playing so amazing. It's just that BDS were doing absolutely nothing. I think there was like 18 goals from Gentlemates or something along those lines.
Yep, 18 to 3.
And I swear, just counting off the top of my head, like 8 or 9 of them were open nets just across the field.
They just handed it to them.
It
wasn't the same BDS. It wasn't the online BDS.
Confused. I was waiting for it. I was like, "It's gonna be an absolute beast of a series."
The funniest part about that series was I was tasked with the post game replay analysis. So I was sitting there. Bro. I was sitting there with the replay guy, where basically I was just watching because he puts together the package for you for me to do the analysis segment. So I sat there watching the entire series with him. Australian fella, absolute legend. But like every goal, like because there's 18, he's like, "Oh, is that one that you want that one?" I was like, not really. Nothing really happened again. I think just BDS is shit. But eventually he found a few goals. But it was over so fast. But at the same time, it was a nightmare for BDS. It was like, oh my god, will this end? They're just beating a dead horse. Like BDS did not put up a fight.
Yeah. It was bad.
Yeah,
it was a tough watch.
It was brutal. They lost 4-1, 4-0, called timeout, lost 4-1, 6-1, and they're like, nice guys, all right, GG's, let's go again in Worlds, I suppose. But the craziest thing is, like, they actually in Swiss, they didn't look themselves, but they didn't look anywhere near that bad. Nobody expected them to just get
that was the biggest shock
like
to
grannied.
Me. I mean, they took Falcons to 5.
Game 5 OT with Falcons, that was a phenomenal
3-1 with
series.
Gentlemates, and then they played them again. And it was like they were bots, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, Gentlemates are just different on land, to be fair. Like, you've got to hand it to Gentlemates to some degree because they just keep pulling up at lands and they're just a better team.
I'll hand it to Gentlemates, especially in the Falcons series. I mean, they looked phenomenal. Falcons obviously looked great too.
I don't know where it's coming from. Online, they don't look like that. I don't know where they're getting this from online.
They just have good vibes. I feel like you look at their player cams, they're vibing. Itachi leading the pack in the middle. I think they just elevate on land. But those quarterfinals were shithouse. All of them were terrible. And even, I mean, well, G2 Space Station.
I like Falcons Gen G. I don't think
Falcons Gen G was a pretty fun, like, I guess that one was a good series. Yeah, that was a pretty like high level series from Falcons. That felt like, we're just watching. This just look like the best team anyone's ever seen versus Gen G. Gen G didn't even. They obviously like made mistakes, but they were just they couldn't compete. I was like, what is going on? I thought it was going to be way closer than that. But yeah, Space Station G2. We all knew how that was going to go. We've seen it like 6 times online. And yeah, oh wow, I was surprised G2 win again. But yeah, Furia Vitality.
Surprise.
Vitality 2 wins in a row against Fury, then Fury F4 won them in the bracket, and Radosin looked really sick. So, like, in real life sick. He did not look well, didn't play well. So get well soon, Radosin.
Yeah, hopefully he's all good.
Vitality swept Swiss. They 3-1 Fury in Swiss. They beat Gen G in Game 5. They played well, and then they just, I guess Radosin was sick. Did anybody hear like what he was actually sick with? That's a real shame.
I heard
Fury
he had some
did play
sort
well though.
of headache thing. I don't know. Just something specific.
He looked like he was in severe pain. He did keep grabbing his temple on the camera.
Must have had a
and he
headache.
looked... Yeah, that must suck.
The thing with Vitality, though, and obviously this one was an outlier because Radosin was sick, but that's just kind of Vitality at the moment in that, like, they hadn't lost to Furia. They'd stomped them every other time. But you're always thinking, which Vitality is going to show up? Because if you go back to Copenhagen, they dominated Fury in the quarterfinals, and then they go against G2, and it's a completely different team. Like, I obviously know G2 play well, but they're so inconsistent. They can play like the best team in the world, then you just don't know what you're going to get.
Well, okay, well, apart from Zen, Zen is unbelievable. He was like single-handedly trying to rally the crowd. I'm watching this like this kid. He's trying to hype them up while they're down 3-1. I was
awesome.
like, what a player, to be fair, because that can't feel too great when you're down 3-0, 3-1. No timeout left. Like, nah, hats off to Zen. He was one of the best players at the event, and they lost 4-1 in the quarters. Like, I'll still say he was unreal. He just keeps on showing up regardless of what kind of form Vitality are in as a team. He looks like he could be the best player in the world. I still think Zen's best player in the world for me right now.
He's
even after this event,
puts up numbers. He's like kind of, I guess, Vatira when he was just always number one in stats, always putting up numbers. He's just always, no matter how his team's playing, he'll step up. But overall, quarterfinals result pretty boring. Saturday pretty boring.
Boring. What? Okay, you guys missed something. I'm gonna send something in the chat and I'm gonna post it on stream here. You guys don't remember this?
Oh.
Are you serious? That was
I forgot about that actually. Oh yeah, I forgot.
And
about
also,
that.
Where did Lost go? Apparently, Lost
was
was Fortnite dancing.
we don't have footage.
No, but isn't this because it was in retaliation to Radosin or someone like L dancing on Twitter?
Before this, he flipped them off as well. And
he did. Yeah, that's a fine, probably.
There's
an emote for it. Why is there an emote?
Yeah, we got emotes the day that happened. That was instant.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
Drufinho flipped him off, and then Mateus dropping the L on him.
Mateus with the L is so funny in the background.
It's so deadpan. He's so serious.
Okay, so Vitality was chirping in the middle of the series as well. And then also,
they were.
This was started on Twitter, I believe, by Vitality. Radosin did an L dance or something beforehand. And so that's why
I think the L dance is funny. I think that's fine. I don't think that Drufinho can just straight up flip them off though. Did he get any fine for that or something? Did he get in trouble for this?
I'm
just gonna say I think he should probably get fined for that. That's not acceptable. You can't do that. On like a Rocket League stream on camera, but you definitely can't do that. Like, there's a line, and that's past the line.
Look, I don't think he should be fined. I think a warning is okay, and then if it happens again, then sure. But like,
nah, fine anyone who does this. I mean, like that's not a massive fine, but a fine. It needs to be like a serious,
a quarter of a second, and then he apologized. It
doesn't matter though. You can't do that.
What do
you can't do that.
The team was shitting on it. Lost literally dropped his headset, ran over to Zen, and was L down. He was literally L dancing.
Wait, is there proof? Because I need that video. I need to see that.
It was insane. If you watch
you can't just tell me. But I know he ran off, but I didn't see an L dance. I need to see the fucking L dance to believe you.
He was literally L dancing on the post game, which is insane. Like, I understand during the game, but after you win, I mean, I know the adrenaline, the hype and stuff.
No,
but it
listen,
wasn't like it was game 7. You smashed them, and then you still.
No, but listen, that's the L dance. I think the L dance is funny, like especially in reply to Vitality. But listen, I know there's a bunch of like hard asses in chat. You guys are some bad men in chat right now. And that's the kind of content you want to see. Drufinho flipping off Vitality. Yeah, you guys are just hard, man. I can't compete. You guys are just some tough individuals. Nah, listen, it's like rules are rules. You got to have repercussions for breaking the rules.
That's what I have to say to that, Johnny.
Say it loud, buddy. Say it loud. Do it on stage to Vitality. You probably won't get fined.
It's the same in other sports.
Like, what kind of precedent are we setting? I'm not saying fine him like his entire prize pool. I'm just saying like there has to be some kind of punishment for like stepping over the line quite clearly.
I think a warning's okay. I'll be honest, it's okay.
I don't know.
You warned him, and honestly, he was apologetic immediately. He was like, "Look, it was a split-second decision."
Did he actually?
Yeah,
Did he say sorry straight after?
He instantly went to Twitter and he was like, "I didn't mean for the situation I caused. Like it was
Oh, I
split
didn't see
second
that.
decision."
I mean, I'm not
It's so
surprised.
funny though,
Drufinho
because
is a class act, but it doesn't matter if you're just like, oh, whoops, yeah, definitely,
Yeah, they
just
say
swore
that.
at you in your
The
face.
entire
My bad
team.
though.
He
Didn't
was
mean it.
the
It doesn't
entire
matter.
team
He said
was
it.
shitting on them. It's like one guy was doing it. Like Lost is L dancing, the coach is L'ing, he's giving the finger. Like, it's like
But it
the
is that's
entire
like
team made a
personal
lapse
though.
in
Like
judgment.
that is definitely personal. Like there's accidentally swearing in an interview or something where that's a warning about you get warning for that. If you do that again, then definitely you're going to be in trouble. But nah, definitely personal to like flip someone off in their face after you've just beaten them in a competitive setting. Like, I don't care how hard
If it
you
was the
are.
NBA,
I don't care
you get a
how.
tech for doing that. Like in other sports in AFL, you can get
And
fined for giving
if
the
you were
finger.
on like if like that is a foul, like a foul, right? So yeah, you'd definitely get fined in other sports for doing this for sure. So I mean, it's nothing about like I'm not going to deny it was entertaining. It's funny. The emote is class. But yeah, you should definitely get fined for that. And then you know what would be brilliant is if there was an established fine for this, and then somebody went up and did it anyway. They're like, yeah, that's right. I just paid minus 5K right there. That would be funny. So I mean, I'm not saying that you know I don't want to see it. I'm just saying it should be a fine for sure. That's not acceptable behavior.
Yeah,
But it's
absolutely.
not something that, like Epic or Blast should be like, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, no, just don't do it again. And then does everybody get at once with like one go? Are we all just allowed a warning? What
We
kind of
got one?
president are we saying here? Oh no, sorry, that was just my warning. No fine for me. And then next time it's
Save
gonna
my
be like,
one finger for the world.
yeah, it's going to be one of the other teammates. We're going to save like the other guy for the final. We're just going to use our warning. Like, come on. What are you guys talking about?
Should be fine. But anyway, yeah, that was the only exciting thing that happened in the quarterfinals. But we paid our dues on the Saturday to experience an absolute belter. Series 1 on the Sunday semi-final. We got to experience General Mates taking on Falcons. And for me, you guys, I know there might be some NA fanboys in chat, but for me, that was the series of the tournament. That felt like the grand final. It was.
There's no way somebody
its
disagrees
level
with
of
that.
play. Obviously.
Well, I mean, actually, we've got to realize grand finals are not close anymore.
never the
When was
best,
the last
it's
time we had a
true.
close grand final? So, like, when we're talking about like best series, highest
Season
quality
7.
gameplay, it's never the grand final. It's not season 7.
Oh, okay.
It's like season. Is it season 7? I don't know what it is. Maybe season 8 and season 5 were the good ones, and then most grand finals are just not close. So, yeah, I see what you mean though. It felt like a grand final. The level was. The tension was just crazy.
General Mates were they were 3-2 up. Falcons were 3-2 down. They forced game 7. They then go a goal down in game 7. They're a goal down with 15 seconds left. TRK scores an insane dunk, double backboard.
That's one of the greatest goals ever scored on LAN, given the context. Like that's
given
unbelievable.
The context, so
like plus context included, that is an outrageous play by TRK to dunk double tap it.
That is so sick.
What a goal!
No, the crazy part is like anybody who knows ball, obviously, but as soon as you see that bounce and you see TRK under the ball, you know, like you can feel it.
Oh
like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. When he 50'd it into the wall to himself, you're like,
wait a minute, it's a perfect setup for him.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
There was someone underneath, and I think as soon as he got the beat, I think I said on the cast, I was like, this is it. Like, he's got to have a free one-on-one with the keeper, and he
shadowed him. I thought he was going to air double bump him, but he went high, and I mean, fair play, that's a crazy goal. I really did think it was just going to be air double bump, though, because it's TRK, it's Falcons. It's on net, and the goalie's shadowing, but he had even better ideas. And then, they managed to hang on in overtime, so they were under a lot of pressure. They got a TRK snipe to win it, which was like one of the most
disappointing winning goal, but
well, I mean, in a way it was, but also it was really funny watching that I was watching it like from the corner of the arena, and everybody saw the shot and kind of went like to see if it was gonna make it, because you're not really sure when you watch it and you're in the LAN watching on the screen with like a weird angle. You're never really sure. Like the depth perception is a lot harder, so everything looks
100%.
Everybody was on the edge of their seat. They're like, the cheer came late,
and they went.
And
off.
Nutty Rawas like defense into 50 middle was a ridiculous pass.
He actually just like stuck to the ball all the way to like a quarter of the field. It was ridiculous from the backboard.
absolute juicy blood. It was clutch from them, and then we just had to fall asleep for the other semi-final. What was going on there? Furia just lay down to the NA goats. G2 looked good though.
No,
Give him credit.
not even that. Yeah, I mean, sure, give him credit, but like by comparison, these series were just polar opposites. And I thought the G2 Furia series looked like just bad in comparison. Like G2 didn't look like the team they looked like in the finals. I don't think they did. G2 completely stepped up.
I think even I think
stepped up
Dad
for sure,
watched that and he messaged me. He said, "Why is this so slow?" Like, for like general people are watching that. And
CJ, remember we were sitting with one of my friends, Danny, who just went to his first ever Rocket League event. This is like a guy who doesn't really watch Rocket League at all. He's played a couple times, but he's a good friend of mine, so he wanted to come along and see what all this Rocket League fuss is all about. And he asked me that. He's like, really, really new to the game. He's like, why is this series so much slower?
He's like, what is happening?
Or he's like, is it just me or is this series like way slower? I'm like, no, it's not just you. But I mean, sometimes you just get two teams who are playing like, they were playing to not lose. I feel like both teams were just playing to not lose in the semi, G2 Furia, because it was close. With Furia coming back to tie it 2-2. So yeah, it just wasn't. They didn't have the same level of intensity, but. I think that's just styles. I think G2 and Furia, they were both just trying to not lose that series.
Yeah, and it's not a diss on those teams, because then we saw the grand final and Falcons, who just came off playing like the level of play was insane, played a lot different in the grand final as well. So it's so much down to play style, level of play, because Falcons weren't playing with the speed they did in the semi-final, but it's just like a different play style. You're not playing.
They were super nervous. I mean, look at some of Falcons' defensive touches. They were so nervous in the final. Like they looked like Mia. They're just like centering the ball for the opponent. So I was like, whoa.
There was literally a clip where I said like a team needs to score soon just to break the tension, and Ross did it, and I was like, oh my god, he just gave a donation. Like it was instant. Like he just shot it out there. It was a free shot.
Yeah, they weren't comfortable, but yeah, I think probably the moment that it got away from them was the 0-second goal where Daniel put it over Roas's head.
But even then, it looked like he kind of trolled. Like I
he was
felt
straight
like
at him.
He did. I mean,
like Ross.
I mean, his positioning was bad, but I mean that's what happens in those really high pressure situations where if Roas is in the I mean probably just any other match in the tournament, there he just goes a little bit deeper in the net and saves it. But
that would
it's the grand final, he's worried about the perfect top brains shot and he covers that, but then it just goes in the middle of the net over him. So he probably like in his head is thinking, what if Daniel puts this like perfectly top corner? I need to be ready for that, when he should probably just be thinking, what if Daniel puts it in 95% of the net? Position a little bit further back.
I mean, G2 in that final, they just look like the team. Obviously, they made the grand final last time. They just look more ready to take the tournament. You know what I mean? They've been there before. They looked a bit more battle hardened, and I mean, they really
they were just locked in. Actually, I'll tell you what. Atomic came out like he was fully focused. I think Atomic had a bit of a flat land.
Good, like after game 2, I'd say.
He opened didn't he score the first goal in game 1?
That might have been the donation goal, yeah.
Yeah, he got a donation from Roas. But no, I think they've got a lot of experience. Clearly, they're the more experienced team, and Falcons are just they're just a bit. They'd probably like already put all their emotional energy into that semi, and G2 were just far too composed for them. But yeah, they were by far the better team. I can't wait. Could we please just get a close final? It'll be nice when one day we just get a game.
We've got to give our props to G2, best team in the world. They might have played. They were entering the matrix against the EU teams that tournament. They were dodging them like laser beams. I don't know how they've managed to get.
You know what's crazy? Like I didn't even realize till after the event that there were only 2 EU versus NA matches the entire event.
Really?
That's got to be an all-time low by a mile. Yeah, the only 2 EU versus NA matches were Gen.G versus Oxygen. Gen.G took it 3-1. And BDS versus OG, where BDS swept them. If I'm not mistaken, those are the only 2 EU versus NA matches, which speaks
to what happens when 2 other regions perform.
Yeah, Furia Falcons. Yeah, and also like quite a lot of team kills. Like we had G2 versus Gen.G, we had SSG versus G2, we had BDS versus Gentlemates twice. So there's a lot of unfortunate team kills, and also Falcons and Furia playing really well and taking down like EU and NA. So like Falcons took down like what was it, three NA teams before losing to G2, and Furia they took down Vitality. But that's still insane to me that they only ran into each other twice, 2 series. out of like all of Swiss and all of the bracket combined.
Doesn't that just
Mad.
add a bit of content though for Worlds, because
for
it's still up in
Worlds.
the air. You're gonna have the EU fans saying we're 2-0 against NA at that event, and then you obviously NA G2.
No, it was 1-1.
quite
It was
rightly,
1-1.
are the best team in the world.
Gen.G beat Oxygen. It was 1-1.
Well, somebody said Gen G played Vitality too.
Yeah, it was 3.
Oh
'cause,
wait.
yeah, Vitality
Oh, it
beat
was 1-2
Gen.G.
then. Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, so it's 1-2.
But
2-1
still,
to
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
played threes.
three,
Okay, they
three
played
is
3 times.
insanely low, regardless.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
super low. Well, I mean, maybe it's not as low as I think, but in the Swiss
Seems
format,
low.
lands, what's the EU versus NA?
Well, I guess
Match
in
tally
the
is gotta be
other
much higher.
other lands though, there was 5 seeds, so it's immediately
True, that's true.
that'll
But
do
yeah,
it.
percentage-wise, it felt like the only thing I was annoyed about was, and it's so good that T-Base and Daz stepped up and made it into something. When I saw G2 Gen G again, I was like, are you serious? We saw BDS mates again. I'm like, oh come on, like can that not just be the other way around? Can we not just get the EU versus NA matches of that? Which quick question for chat in passing: should we have some kind of clause if we do Swiss again to force cross-regional matchups in that situation? If it's possible, should
I
it
want
be
to force it in the
prioritized?
quarterfinals as well, because when I found out it was
And
going to
the
be
quarterfinals.
G2 SSG quarterfinal, I was like, oh, well, that's the one we can skip. I know LJ was
of-
fantastic all tournament, but
A lot
still.
of people say yes to that, but doesn't that kind of like hinder? Oh, I mean, like I'm not gonna act like I'm some big advocate for it because I was talking about Swiss, but like, isn't that kind of hinder like competitive integrity if you kind of just
It
ignore
probably does.
seeding
Yeah,
It does,
to
does.
go cross region?
Well, then again,
But
whenever
honestly,
you're choosing
hey,
groups
I'll say
at
it.
Worlds,
I don't care.
no,
Yeah.
I'll give all the EU fans all the copium that they need, and that is that. Yeah, I think if Gentlemates made the final, I would back him to win it. After seeing what I've seen, I think that the experience of Gentlemates plus the level of that semi was
I could see that.
probably above. So I would say Gentlemates to me looked like the best team on the day, but Falcons in the semi had the composure. In the finals, they didn't. So yeah, if G2 can do that again at Worlds, if they can not run into Gentlemates in bracket, I think they've got a chance to win.
Yeah, nothing worse than some final nerves, grand finals nerves, losing 4-1, 0-second goal. A lot of it actually was kind of reminiscent of
What? Wait, hold
some
on.
old
That's
days.
actually
now.
really similar.
Yeah.
Wait, I've
I
seen this
can't remember what
before.
season where I've seen that.
Rizoas?
Rizaz?
Riz was ass in that final, I'll tell you that for free. But I mean,
Oh my
Good,
goodness.
that's why they pay you the big bucks. Good analysis there, bud.
so
But yeah, no, I want to point out as well, because I know somebody's going to be really upset that I said I reckon Gentlemates would have beaten G2 again if they made the final, that it is possible to have predictions that don't directly match up with power rankings. And yeah, G2 are the power rank #1 team because they won the international event. It's not that hard. It's not rocket science. Team wins international
taken
event,
the cake.
they're #1. And if you thought that was going to be a difficult thing for me to tweet, you've not been following Rocket League very long, because I've always said that since the very beginning. Team wins an international event with all the teams there, they're #1. That's
And
how it
if you
works.
don't love
Doesn't
that-
mean you have to predict them the next time, though. You can predict whoever you want. Because
You don't
predictions
love
don't have
that.
to
You don't
match
like
power rankings.
Rocket League. It's as simple as that. You know, speaking of Rocket League and speaking of things we love nations.
Oh, we do.
cross-region
We do.
matchups, cross-nation
We love
matchups.
cross-nation matchups. And so
Guaranteed.
actually, there was a tournament that was announced, the I believe FIFA World Cup-esque. That's not called World Cup-esque. I'm making
Is
that
it called
up.
FIFA? Is that what it's called?
I think, or it's FIFA E or something like that. But there is an E somewhere in there.
FIFA.
But
Yeah,
there's an
it's
FIFA tournament where they're
Oh, yeah,
actually
yeah.
doing nation matchups, and it's basically a World Cup. They have 16, I believe, predetermined countries. The way I read it, it's worded
They've
as
not
if...
announced them yet, though, right?
Oh, it's FIFA E.
They've-
No,
I think
it's
they
not
have
announced. But
actually
the way
announced.
Have
it's
they announced the 16 countries?
No, they haven't.
Yeah, I think. Are you
But-
sure?
No.
Unless they did
think so.
it
I've
today
seen a
or
list.
something. You've seen a
Oh, it's
list.
FIFA
Leaked.
E.
Leaked.
It's FIFA. FIFA.
But regardless, there's 16
It's
countries
FIFA.
that are already like locked in, but I don't know if
Yeah.
they're announced or not. But they basically said that the countries are representatives of previous players at
TBA.
Worlds, and so
Uh-huh.
my concern kind of is like, who are they counting as the representatives? Because like even in Major 1, like we had representatives from Malaysia, Thailand. Like, is there a Malaysian team? Is there?
Well,
yeah,
shall we give them a
surely
list? 'Cause if they've not announced a list yet, we can make it for them. Like, you know,
I mean,
obviously
I basically.
they're probably watching.
Hold on.
We could pull up a 16 real quick.
Here.
Have you got a notepad?
I
Australia,
actually have
New
that written out.
Zealand.
Oh, what's this? Is this like all
the
the?
bottom 3 are countries that are not represented at majors.
Oh, I see. So last year's World Championship, those are the 20 countries who played.
No, not worlds. These are the past 2 majors.
Oh, past 2 majors.
Yeah.
I would hope that that's just some kind of lost in translation text, and that actually they're just gonna choose the 16 best Rocket League nations, rather than
Yeah,
the
because
16.
like I would
and
rather
I think
have like
when I say
Germany
best Rocket League
than
nations,
Malaysia
I do want
or
to
Indonesia.
South Africa in there for the record. I do think they should be in there. There should
South
definitely be
Africa
like
is
one
there.
of
I wrote it
the
out.
South Africa's there. I reckon you should probably put Japan in there. Are they still like, if you had to put a nations APAC tournament together, would Japan still be on top?
There are a
Maybe.
lot of Japanese players in APAC.
Yeah,
Probably,
that's what I'm thinking.
I
I
think
think
it's
Japan would
majority
probably be
Japan.
the team from APAC still, because a lot of the other like teams have one player from this country, one player from another, but Japan are kind of like on lots of different top teams.
John's
Yeah,
got a good
so,
list
like,
there.
mostly Japan.
That looks right.
Yeah, France, USA, Brazil, KSA, England, Morocco, Germany, Australia, Spain, Netherlands, Chile, Belgium, Canada, Argentina, Japan, and South Africa. I like that list.
So you've got well, 2 NA, obviously Canada, USA, that's a given. Japan and SSA, I think that's, or South Africa would just be SA this time. I think they're
Sam.
locks. Australia's a lock, obviously. Saudi Arabia's a lock, so that's at 6.
I mean,
Brazil's a lock.
The best
Argentina's a lock.
teams to me look like, I mean, it's just the first 4 really. France, USA, Brazil, KSA. Like those just look like the absolute freak show teams. You know what I mean? It's like because USA is probably just gonna be G2.
Yeah, well, it could be G2, or it depends how, if Jack has to go back play for England, then First Killer Chronic are going to be looking for a player, and then you got to wonder, okay, are SSG going to like stick and play as an NA team, or who would First Killer Chronic get? Who are they going to grab?
LJ would probably be the
LJ,
first grab.
Suddenly that's like a real contender.
If they can.
Because I mean, Gen G are like, we shouldn't forget, if Gen G could play with Jack, they would be, I think, a coin flip with G2 in a matchup against each other still.
Yeah.
The only problem for Gen G is that they're less consistent against the rest of the field, where G2 are much more consistent. But if they made the final, Gen G G2, that is not like a cakewalk for G2 at all. Gen G have got a great matchup against them. OT Game 5 loss in the last event, and before that they beat them 4 times in a row. So I think they clearly know how to play G2
Also,
pretty
somebody said just play G2. What are we talking about? We would assume there would be a qualifier for this. Then
Yeah,
it's not just like a person vote. So
also,
yeah, what's that?
I was talking to T-Bates. He was thinking, with these other nation teams, right? It's kind of rarely do you have an actual team. Like say it's Team USA in basketball. You're not going to get just a team playing for USA. Like it's not just the Lakers or something. So could there be a clause where you can't have G2 playing as you? It has to be like a dream team matchup. Or
I think I don't like it. I think it's overly complicated. I wouldn't do anything like that. I'd let G2 play, let Vitality play for France. Like
I'd do it for content. I'd like to see it though. I'd like to see mix-ups, because it's not really an RLCS thing. I don't want to see G2
I think that
as
delegitimizes it.
Yeah,
I think it delegitimizes it. It takes it
a
down, makes it
nation
like pointless.
tournament, you should have your best representatives. So if your best representatives happen to be one team or G2 in this scenario, then that should be it.
Fair enough. I like the content though.
I mean, yeah, it would be definitely a cool event to do, like mix-up teams with nationalities included. But I think it would make it less serious, because I mean, if USA lose and it's like 3 players who are not a team, and then they've just lost to, let's say, Falcons, because they don't have enough players in MENA to do that, the people would be like, oh, it doesn't count. I mean, if G2 had their full roster, they would win. People would like immediately like undermine. But
it's still it's unfair, I think, on teams that don't have 3, like Gen G. You know what I mean? But it's still not going to have.
You got an English player. What you did?
Yeah, but it's still just going to have a few teams with their entire team that are lucky enough to be all from the same country.
Yeah,
it's not. It's still not going to be missing out on teams. So you're still going to have the coaching of. What?
I think we should let them get rewarded for that, though. I'm saying I don't think that we should look at that as a bad thing. Like if a team has invested in fully Brazil, full full Saudi, full France, full whatever, Netherlands. If there's a full Spanish team again, I'm like, well done. You guys can be the favorites then from your country, rather than trying to punish teams for playing with their countrymen. I think it's cool that people play with their countrymen. Also, Morocco sleeper team, just very quickly.
I'm also reading through this post, and they actually updated this since the last I read it. So they kind of changed it a little bit. But now it says the nations are selected based on factors such as player base, which was not in there before, and previous performances of players from the respective countries. So that was not in there. Before, it was only talking about major representation, and now it does not say that.
Interesting.
So it's basically like player base. So I think Japan would be in there just because like the RLC. I don't think
Japan
the
has
player
to be
base
in
is that
there.
high, but the RLCS player base is high in Japan. So I think it's
Well,
probably.
I mean,
them.
if you look at an APAC, I just had to look at some of the APAC quals. Like Japan is definitely the most stacked country in APAC. You got to get them in there.
100%.
For sure. I'm not sure about the Chile inclusion. I mean, yeah, you can definitely get like a solid team out of Chile. Like Raze Bulls,
Yeah, that
obviously
one's
from
questionable.
Chile. Han and Davitrox is probably like the team I would go for. But I wonder if they would beat out just like another like team like Belgium, for example, where you've just got Atto plus. I mean, if he'd play with Astral, who else is from Belgium? Compact. There's another one who I'm missing. Who is the chat? The Compact's actually been playing quite well this year. He's made a bunch of top 16s. It's not as clear, I'd say, who that one should be.
And then there's also another thing here that I have no idea what this means, but this one didn't change. It doesn't seem like, but it says participating member associations will have the opportunity to host their own qualification tournaments to find the best players to represent their nations and wave their flag on the biggest stage. What are participating member associations? Is that orgs?
I think that just means
a captain. Like, are they just selecting somebody to like?
No, I think it just means like, let's say if they hand it off to Rocket Baguette to host the French tournament to figure out who the top French team are.
Like that makes sense for France, but like it doesn't make sense for a lot of other countries. Like,
well, they might be looking for partners, and there will definitely be partners who can run a tournament for all these countries. Like all of the other regions,
representatives, sort of thing.
Yeah, when you're talking about nationalities, Japan, South Africa, Australia, Saudi Arabia, they've all got like TOs in these regions. Some of them, like Morocco, are very embedded with the French scene already, so maybe they would just also be a Rocket Baguette thing. I'm not sure, but I think it would be very easy to figure out, broadcast partners for those tournaments. Chuck a bracket on Start GG and see what happens.
See what happens. We'll run it. I'll do a nation.
You'll do a nation.
You'll do a nation.
I'll do the Australian one. Let's go. Yeah, it's exciting, but it was interesting they did an announcement, but there was no date. It was just TBC. So actually,
it does say somewhere. I don't know. I read it somewhere that it says this year at least, so that's cool. At least
I like that. I like that they're announcing it before. If they waited until it's locked in, then maybe there would be not enough time for teams to prep. But now that that's the thing, teams that don't have a third French player, for example, like, Vatira is the only French player on KC. He's probably thinking, okay, who am I going to play with in this event to, somehow take down Vitality if they're just going to stick. Yeah, give it a bit of time to just, like, if nothing else, just play some games with players you plan to play with when that event eventually comes around.
I'd assume it's after Worlds, but it has happened before where we had those Olympics qualifiers and stuff. We just randomly during the season or between a major or before a major or something. So we'll see what happens, but I'm expecting end of the year. We'll find out more later. Let's finish up though with some Patreon cues. Been a nice juicy episode, this one. First one relating to Worlds. Do we have any plans for Worlds? Chalkcast meetups, more in-person podcasts, etc. This one is from Echo. We have still a few months, so wondering if there was anything that was in the works. We do have some initial plans in the works for some content to be around the Chalkcast. Obviously, Rizzo wasn't there for London, so he is frothing right now to get back with the boys and create some content, and we cannot wait to meet up again.
Imagine we can get a live Chalked in
I would love
Dallas.
to. I feel like I was talking about this like a year and a half ago, like wanting to do live Chalk.
Can we just like link up with a bar and get some like PA system and just run a Chalk live?
At a bar. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, we can definitely do it. It might not be like be able to live stream it, but we could definitely do like a live in-person event.
In-person record it. It's easier to record stuff like that.
For his power ranking takes every time.
Let us know if you guys will
give
be
it
down.
to me. I'd love it.
If you're coming to Worlds, say we did it on the like Wednesday night, the night before it starts. Because it's crowd Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, I think we should still do it Wednesday night. Let us know if you'd be down. We've got enough time to cook something up, and we've got, we need some mics and stuff, but I'm sure that can be sorted. Let us know though. We'd love to do a meetup, absolutely. So yeah.
This is another question pertaining to LAN events. This is from Void. Wrote a paragraph, but I'm going to sum it up. But he says, thoughts on basically having LAN attendee titles as in-game rewards. So if you basically go to one LAN, you might get like RLCS 2024 Major 1 attendee. And over time, if you go to more LANs, you get like 4-time LAN attendee, 5-time LAN attendee, stuff like that. Kind of, I guess the idea is to reward players a little bit more, because they used to do wheels, but I guess they don't even they don't do that anymore.
Did people start buying the tickets just to get the code and then never go? Is that the thing? Because that's the only thing I'd be scared of, is people just trying to get an in-game title and never have any intention of going to the event.
Yeah, then I think they would resell the ticket, but I don't know. Maybe there's some way. I'm sure there's some possible way that like once a ticket is scanned in person, then you get the
that'd be cool.
The reward sort of thing. I don't mind. I don't really care if other people get titles and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of people that are that try to gatekeep titles, where they have like this sort of thing where like titles should be held for results and competition for the most part, like the big shiny ones. But I don't really care if people get like a LAN attendee title. I think that's cool. I think it encourages people to go to worlds or majors more, and I think it would be only a positive, honestly, to I guess the community.
We have one here from Mr. Rocket League Chris. Do you guys think Monkey Moon can recover again from a mediocre season and play well at Worlds? Mediocre season's crazy because they did win the last 2 events. Do you think a BDS would have better chance at Worlds if the season was longer? They look so weak in the playoffs. What are our thoughts on BDS for Worlds?
I think it's actually so hard to say. There's a lot of times, especially during a 3-split season, where the longer a season goes on or the longer a team plays with each other, it seems like the worse they get.
You get sick of each other.
They just fucking hate each other by the end of the season. So I don't think, if the roster stayed the same, they would be better. I think that's why people use that like last split replacement player buff, or I guess like the honeymoon period is what people call it. But like, I don't think it would really work for BDS just having a longer season in any circumstance, or many teams.
Did any of the top teams change? If Oxygen made it, I guess they'd be the highest rated team who have actually made a roster change during the season.
It doesn't feel as worth to make a change like this season, which is good, I think.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely good.
If you're a LAN attending team, of course.
Yeah, you talk about the long season. I'm big on vibes and stuff, and I think that's why Gentlemates do so well. They just look like they're having fun when they do get on LAN. They look relaxed. Like they're vibing. And just BDS, I mean, if I was Monkey Moon's teammate, like I know he might not mean anything by it, but seeing him, the amount of times, his bad habit of leaning back in his chair,
lean back has to stop,
would be so tilting for me as a
peripheral vision. Lean back, I'd be like, give me a blinder. I can't see that.
It's him missing a shot, it's like a teammate missing a shot, and he's just holy shit! Oh my god, he's hanging himself. It's mid game. It's not like after a goal after a game. It's like the game's still going, and he's leaning back. That'd be tilting. So I think vibes is everything. I think they said online that they'd sort of worked on the pressure, mental side of the game, but they need still way more on LAN. I think that's why.
Give me Itachi. Itachi's aura, I hear that's the word the kids are using these days, is unparalleled. So like this guy just had an all-time great LAN. I think if they win that game 7 against Falcons, I think we're looking at an Itachi MVP just about 1 hour later, because he was outrageously good.
Phenomenal.
Itachi's so good. But even just like the vibes that you get from Itachi just from watching, you're like, man, I feel like everyone would want to play with this guy. He just exudes confidence and composure. Same thing with like beast mode, for example, in G2. He's just, now that he's figured out how to not be nervous, like you mentioned in his post-game interview, just looks like the exact kind of player you want in the middle. Just waiting for the younger generation to step up and learn how to do that, because they're all pretty smart at learning. Yeah, give me Itachi. That's the player that you build a team around.
Yeah, I think for BDS, it's honestly more mental than anything. You can see they're good enough. We saw it online. They just need to work on the little things, the team cohesion, chemistry. Speaking of teams performing, though, I'd like to wrap up with this one. What are our hot take current right now top 4 going into Worlds? Who are our top 4 teams?
Wait,
Top 4
hold on.
teams.
Do we universally agree it's Falcons G2 mates or no? As 3?
Yeah, they've got to be. They're the undisputed 3, surely.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
I'd
who's
say.
who would be our 4th?
Um,
Who would be your guys' 4th?
I don't trust BDS anymore because they
I don't
had,
either.
super questionable performances twice in a row in 2 LAN events in playoffs. So we've not seen a good series from them in a LAN. I feel like you've got to have seen at least one good series from a team in a LAN playoffs to trust them. So that rounds the list down very short. When you take G2, Falcons, and Mates in, the only teams you've got left are Furia, KC, and Vitality. And that's it. So we're taking
Fury or
one of them, I'd
KC at the
say.
moment for me. Vitality's
I
been
don't.
3-0 through Swiss. They look
What are we
really
talking about?
good.
Top 4? Is this the teams we think are going to get top 4? Or team we think we can win it? Because I think it's a different question. Because I think World Championship is a totally different. Like we're talking about nerves. Like G2 were prepared for the nerves of the grand final this time around. I think if you run them, put them in a World's grand final, it's going to be a totally different ball game. There's only like a select few players who have had that experience it, and it's like Vitality. They've done that. Atomic has done it. Who else has done it? It's like
BDS.
Monkey Moon.
Just Monkey.
Gentlemates is Seiko has done it twice. So yeah, I think probably Vitality, I'd say, because if you're talking about a team who can actually show up at Worlds to the additional pressure, I'd have more faith in them right now than KC or Furia. But
I don't know.
KC are such a dark horse, though. KC, man,
I want KC.
such a dark
4.
horse.
Yeah, it's tough. I think I would go KC as well.
But I think Vitality looked pretty good before. Like I know everybody's just trying to.
I know. I think
say that the Radosin
no headache Radosin would be a different.
Yeah,
story.
no headache. Radosin is a
headache.
legendary
Radosin.
player. I think they were playing pretty well before Radosin got a headache, and I know, they might have just sucked on stage anyway. But
if you're a player
pretty good.
and you see Vatira across the other side after missing a major, after failing, dropping down,
Imagine the anime
is
gifs
going
he's
to
posting
look
during
like
Worlds.
Yeah.
My God,
I'm guessing 6 before his first match.
He's got
gonna
like
look like a
minimum 6
killer.
drafted already before he even starts. He's just got them ready to go. Pre-jumped.
Yeah. I would be intimidated by KC that's been,
That's-
given
hey,
time to reset.
Look
and
at
bounce
Justo Milk and Chat. That's a great shout. Radosin can't bounce if his head hurts. That's a great
Oh,
shout.
that's
Like
huge.
he was limited in more than
Massive.
one way. Nah, I'm thinking Vitality still because I think Zen's still the best player in the world, and having the best player in the world is a pretty good buff when it comes to Worlds.
True.
And everybody else is pooping their pants with nerves, and you've just got the best player in your team. Pretty big deal. So I'll say Vitality. KC is like they're the dark horse. We haven't seen them play, and Furia they'd be my number 5 behind Vitality.
Mhm. It's true. Nullcorp, BDS have done it before. They got lost to Secret, lost to Pioneers in a spring major in London, and then won Worlds. So
yeah. Oh,
they
don't
can
not
definitely do it.
this don't make even less sense this time around. This would be so insane. But they are so good though. It doesn't make sense that they played so badly. They're so talented. I feel like there's a really really open list of teams who genuinely look like they could make a run though, which is really cool. And it's going to be AFL playoff this time, so you can't Mickey bracket that one. You can't just play against like only your own region all the way through and just dodge the actual second best team in the bracket. Yeah, you're probably going to run into them at some point.
Well, I think one of the best things about the situation is that we have 3 months until Worlds happen, so maybe or maybe
jobs.
not.
It's not.
We
It's
get
two,
to see,
2 and a bit, right?
We
2
get
and a half.
2 and a
Don't say
bit.
3.
Okay, we got 2 and a bit until Worlds, so we maybe or maybe not get to see these players compete, and we have a lot of chalk casts until then to discuss it. So we hope you guys. The boys are back. We hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you gave it a good listen. If you missed any part of it, or if you didn't get to give it a good listen, be sure to check it out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. It is all posted there. We appreciate you guys so much for listening. Shout out to all of our Patreon members, patreon.com/chalkcast. Be sure to join the Discord as well. And we will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye, Jesse.
Bye, Jesse.